whoever knows, because you want to have some spiritual, and all these people who are probably saying all these things got these things in their hands through their own hard work, and they will make you have the impression as if there is some spiritual, thing that will bring you this and that. Yes, sometimes, yes, there is. Sometimes there is. But why would you put yourself into that situation of what somebody will be teaching you how to become successful and all that? And yes, so that person himself is not a very successful person. And if that person is also very successful and he's using his success, instead of being honest with you and telling you that it's coming from my hard work and all that, they keep twisting and say, oh, God granted me and helped me and all that, so you go and do that, and you also be okay. And you find people being got into that situation of trying to do something, to impress God or something. We read Genesis now with the unveiling of the friendly trap, which keeps us in a situation where we find ourselves entangled into the lifestyle that we never even admired in any way. So we have to unveil things, and as we keep unveiling, we go through the books, we look at certain things that will happen in the lifestyle of those who are claimed to be the generation or genealogy of the founding religion, in every way. And as all that is done, we'll be able to sort of separate the good from the bad. We'll be able to sort of drop the things that are not necessary and adjust the things that are necessary. So as it says here in Genesis, in Genesis 34, it's even revealed here in Genesis when when Abraham, one of the founding fathers, who the promise of the Jewish people, have their promise came upon, have some declaration, revealing, that he got married again with who? Keturah, and he had concubines. So he wasn't just married, he was a polygamist too. Today what we would say polygamist. He was a polygamist. Because it's here in Genesis 25. Abraham's wife died, and Sarah. And Sarah died. His son Isaac had to marry his cousin or sister, Rebecca. And when he married Rebecca, they lived happily. He got comforted after his mother's death. And his father ended up marrying somebody else because he needed somebody in his life. But he already had people. He had concubines of whichever way. But Keturah he became his wife. And they had children too. But he also had concubines alongside. It says in Genesis 25, verse 5, it says, and Abraham gave all that he had to Isaac. But Abraham gave gifts to his sons of the concubines which Abraham had, and while he was still living, he sent them eastward, away from Isaac his son, to the country of the east. I don't know why they are all sending, every time Cain have to go eastward. Adam and Eve eastward. Everybody was going eastward, and now Abraham is sending his concubine children eastward. What is east? We probably call the east is maybe the Arabian area, the place where the Arabs live, and the Jewish people have also got a place there and all that. And can't really, these are people who were being sent there, were people who, let's say, they are not part of a promise. Yeah, that's why they were sent to the east all the time. It's like God becomes so, it's like he hasn't got any hope in you anymore, that he sent you to the east. Cain had to go to the east side also. And I can see east coming again from here, where Abraham sent him his concubine to the east, away from Isaac. But eventually, according to the book, the same chapter 25, Abraham had to die and be buried. We look through all these things, and it's suggesting to us things that are telling us that, hey, the so-called future that we have, the so-called ideas we have today, that moral standard or the norms of life today is nothing compared to the father of Abraham. If you come to the Christian world, because this genealogy is not just for the Muslims. Abraham is not just it's not within the genealogy of just a Muslim. In fact, it is a core, called, what do you call it, ancestor of the Christian fellowship and the Judaism, the Jewish fellowship. So whichever way it is, he was he was in concubine marriages. He was a polygamist, So why would Jehovah now have problems with polygamy? He hasn't got problem with Abraham, the father of all, the friend to Jehovah. So if you're a Christian and you are realizing all these things, you can see that it is not necessarily a change. We've become something else of what it is truly identified in the book. Now, is it bad or not bad? I don't know. But when you look to this book, then you are seeing clearly that our lifestyle, our rules and regulations have nothing to do with what the book says. Because it is clearly in the book that it is an incest thing. But today's life, incest is not practically something which is condoned or should be condoned. In the Christian world or non-Christian world, it's like no. So here we have it here. So we are not doing what our book is telling us. You go to the Rome, other churches where, people are lifted as saints after leading the church for so long, and a statue is built. People go and worship and kiss the dead body at all times. I said, what is it going on? But people do that. Why would they do that? Because they're doing that every day. They've been made to believe that what they're doing is significant. It does have an impact. It does materialize well. It brings good things. It's like it's a good thing to do. And they have believed that. Now, have they looked into it or asked? Maybe some of them even ask questions, but they won't ask openly for whatever reason. So we know what Isaac and Abraham's life was, who Abraham was, slightly from what the book is saying. Because without this book, I wouldn't have even known Abraham. And I would have known Adam. So it is here in the book that made me know all those things. So if I want to sort of get rid of the idea or the story I have about Abraham and God, I need to forget about it. I shouldn't get involved with this book. Because clearly, this is where I am knowing whatever I know from the Bible or the Quran. So that is what I said. If you're able to find out to see that these books have got serious blunder on the human race, and I resolve that, then I know that I'm now beginning to move towards the right direction. Because there are so many counseling that the book probably has given me or will give me that I have realized that they are irrelevant. And most of it I don't even need, or nobody even needs those things. Sometimes we admit to it just for the fact that we have to. And when we look through, as we are looking through these books to unveil certain facts, we know that I know that somehow the answers are not in the book. It is the confusion that is in the book. And that confusion is what I don't want you to have. When you are to decide to pick, let's say the Bible,